collected in wells can groundnuts, cotton, and vegetables be cultivated. The rest of the land remains dry and bare. So man's establishments are possible only where water can be gathered. Since ancient times, systems of irrigation, both big and small, have been created in order to collect, store, and distribute the precious waters. When the tail end of the monsoons arrive here from the east, small, swift-running rivulets of water are suddenly formed on the bare earth. And wherever possible, man has built dams to collect and preserve the waters for the rest of the year when there is no rain. Where canals brought the waters to the land, the earth has blossomed as a garden. And where it was possible to create large reservoirs, cities have been built.
Recently, an ancient dream of the people of Rajasthan has come true. An immense canal has been built, bringing the Himalayan waters to the heart of the desert. An achievement which required the labor of an entire generation of independent India. Today, the work continues in order to extend the waters from the main canal through branches taking water to remote villages and to valleys previously too dry for people to settle, but which are now destined to flourish with both people and crops. Here in Rajasthan, simple solutions accompanied by strong commitments have been able to create something that would have been a challenge even for more developed countries. Along with the constant patience of the farmers of rural India, the workers of the canal are removing mountains of sand, basket by basket, forming the bed of the canal by adding stone to stone. And slowly, the water from the faraway Himalayas is reaching the most remote areas of the Thar Desert to maintain a promise of resurrection for this land. Along the borders of the canal grow new settlements, and the abundance of water is giving new shape to people's hopes. In the shade of these newly grown trees, people who were once confined to nomadic life, searching for meager pastures for their herds, or people who were forced to work for petty wages as daily laborers, can finally realize their dreams of a secure life.
Contrary to man, who can intervene to extend his living space outside the borders traced by nature, animal life gathers only where life is possible. Like in the few oases of the desert, where an abundance of water permits different species of birds and animals to live together. Here, the same birds which spend their summers in the wetlands of Siberia come to spend their winters in the Indian desert. For a period of 5 months, these birds share their environment with the wild and rare species of animals protected by the vastness of these lands. But the prospective colonizing of Rajasthan may not be accompanied by a sense of respect for the animal life that survives here. And as all over the world, the wildlife here may become another innocent victim of man's prosperity.
I have no hope. Look at these trophies. Look how man is capable of treating nature. This is not killing for sustaining life. It's not even killing for gaining land. I feel as if there is a violence in man which never ends.
But we are now looking at the lifestyle of kings, not of average men. How could you have a royalty untouched by violence? Try to imagine living here in the court, in the seat of power. Could we have chosen the life we wanted? Wouldn't we also have been prisoners of our roles? Could we have chosen for us a life of peace? All this has now faded away, but we cannot look back to royalty without removing the dust of time accumulated on the images of history. We are unhappy with our society. We idealize about previous times and think people were happier. But would you have preferred to live then?
Of course not.
Then why go back to old values?
It's not a question of going back. It's a question of picking up the things which were left behind, thinking they were not needed. We have created a more prosperous, egalitarian society, but we left behind those virtues which made man more than just a social unit. That's what we're searching for now.
It's true. We must find the heart. Looking at the history of this land, at its kings, at its battles, we have to look beyond the chronicles of events which have formed the political and military battlefield of Rajasthan, and try to penetrate the culture of nobility which has made the Rajputs the legendary lords of these people. If we look deep into the values which have given soul to this culture, we find that the tradition of heroism was a belief in the spiritual value of man. While different from the modern values of our democratic philosophies, it was still a search for a way to assert human dignity. Even the martial arts were a discipline meant to help transcend one's fears and limitations. Here in the life of the fort, more important than the business of politics was the business of those who felt responsible to keep society within the order of religious values and the canons of tradition. Here, the kings did not rule in the name of their personal power, but under the guide of a religious responsibility. They believed themselves to be the custodians of a divine law. The thread which united the kings and people wasn't just a thread of domination and subjugation. We shouldn't be confused by the models we have today in an egalitarian society. Theirs was a time in which everybody had their place, a duty established by birth, a location in society determined by one's caste.
We can still get a taste of the old caste system by visiting the bazaars in the old cities. There, everyone has his role, his inherited position, his inherited shop. And everybody sticks to his role as a sort of duty, as his part given to him by destiny. The economic life of the old bazaars reminds me of the life of the plants, each one with its roots, its functions, its life unchanged. Everyone with his own specific art, his own peculiar products. One can get bored with the lazy contentment and constant repetition of the same work, yet at times this seems preferable to the rat race of capitalism, which creates competition but without rest. In these markets, there is space for everyone, for every art, even the most simple, the most odd. It is this tranquil acceptance of one's destiny that deeply impresses the foreigners traveling in India. How is it possible that here, the poor so often portray such contentment in spite of their harsh conditions? How can they accept their social position with such fatalism? Is Hinduism a bad social philosophy that teaches a sort of passive indifference? Or is it a wonderful spiritual philosophy which discloses a way of living one's own life with the serenity seen on their faces?
प्रजालक जो घण चालक नेच जयो चंडी जो घण चालक नेच जयो ब्रज डाक तमाक धमाक बड़ो बड़ हाक चंडी चहु चाक हुए पड़ जाक ये राक के रात पचावन नाक सुरा असुराक नमे हद जाक ये राक पिया हमेशा चलो बक राक चढ़ाक लियो ब्रत पालक पालक.
It's a question that is not new to the internal structure of Hinduism itself. For instance, the religion is divided in its judgment about the ascetics, who, on one hand, are seen as lazy cowards running from human responsibility, and on the other, as great souls who have the courage to renounce social competition. In any case, the ascetics have always represented in India the only way of liberating oneself from the duties of the caste into which one is born.
ये कलात में उनके नाम पर कलात है। तो उस समय में सत्य जो ये ऊंची जगह था यहाँ
In India, this caste system was strictly observed as long as the Hindu kings were in power to enforce it. The end of monarchy came when the kings changed their place and their traditional roles. They left the forts, they left their martial virtues, they left the cultivation of bravery, and they left their responsibility towards the divine law. And seduced by the commodities of an industrial life, which was conquering the land with a colonialist flag, they moved into palaces, into a life of luxury. The kingdom became an estate, the bazaar a revenue, and the courts were converted into party rooms, providing permanent enjoyment. The royal spirit of the Rajputs ended, and with the loss of spirit, they lost their kingdoms, which centuries of armed aggressions had not been able to snatch away.
This must have been a feudal house. The monarchic state in India was a hierarchy between smaller and bigger kings. There were local lords, laws of the region, laws of the state, all the way up to the Mughal emperor. Now the old system is gone. But despite freedom from monarchy, the average Indian still tends to have a feudal perspective. But see how history leaves behind that which no longer serves a purpose. As nature over time reabsorbs into matter a life no longer capable of surviving. The balance of human life with the environment is not always as beautiful, as relaxing, or as mystic as one would like to think. Traditions change. Royalty has ended now, and India has taken new roads, new directions, which will create new cultures. Those who are stuck to norms end up with only dust in their hands. Those who really believe in the spirit should trust the changes of time, because they know that the changes are only new manifestations of the constantly recreating spirit of life.